And talking of other countries, I just have two people I want to just mention. Chair Gumede, please, from South Africa. Please, Juju, also from South Africa. Please rise. You will recognize them as being in the parliament in South Africa. Thank you for being
Watch this video and see how Julius Malema, the EFF founding leader, responded to the Nigeria High Commissioner in South Africa. The truth is that the level of corruption in Nigeria is reducing its value and respect to almost nothing. Please like, share and comment for more recent updates.
Has been taken by him because the president, in your address, you made no mention, I don't know if it's deliberate, of the AU as well as the regional blocks, SADC for instance, in addressing some of the ills, bedeviling the various regions. You did mention some of those forces that try to tear us apart, like it is in Mozambique, but you did not mention anything, whether SADC is doing anything at all, which you appreciate. I would love that you take another look at how the EFF will strengthen this regional organization, or whether or not the EFF does not see the value addition in the AU as well as SADC in the agenda you have for governance. The second question I wish to ask is on the basis of economic integration, the world is seen as a global village, whether from the west or from the east. The emphasis I thought for Africa should be who will be our trading partner, and not the very radical posture of the socialist concept, which probably was very relevant in the after the Berlin Conference, 1880 something, 1884, 85. But today, we don't have colonialism to fight as such, because the whole of Africa has been decolonized. South Africa is independent, Namibia is independent, and so is the whole African continent, with the exception of probably some aggression against Western Sahara. So is it not time that EFF takes a posture that is more inclusive of development concepts rather than imaginary fighting colonialists that do not exist in any way? Because the interest of the world is more virtually focused on how do I develop on the economic concept, how do I attract. Sometimes the development economists call it foreign direct investment, FDI. How do I attract that? So I would like to know what the EFF thinks about the economic integration of the African continent, as well as what the AU has done in promulgating or forming the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as well as the 2063 agenda. Thank you.
There is a reluctance because to create a formidable thing like an African government, because everybody benefits from these little cocoons. You are called the president of Swaziland, prime minister or something. But your country is not bigger than Soweto. What is that? Then it means Soweto must be a country also. So, but because they benefit from that, they don't even want to engage in this discussion. Because it's an individuals who benefit from it. That's why there's no concrete plan to go into it, and there's no a single president that leads this discussion and put it firmly on the agenda of the AU. That the original thought of the AU as OAU, it was to establish, the founding fathers wanted to establish a solid government. And they got defeated in that discussion. But the intention has always been to create a solid government from its inception. That we should come together and be one. And something came out of it, and it never went back to what it was supposed to be. A government, a united government of Africa. And that's what we'll advocate for ourselves as the EFF. Africa Free Trade is a movement in the right direction. But the first thing we need to do, which the AU must firmly resolve, is to do away with the visa for Africans. There should not be a visa for Africans. The same way the Europeans have one visa, they travel everywhere, they are one thing. What they have, they don't want us to have it. There shouldn't be a visa in Africa. Free movement of people should be allowed. And there's no one who's going to leave Nigeria to come and settle here. It's not true, that thing. It's a myth. I mean, I come from a province called Limpopo. We don't need visa to go to Johannesburg. But people are still there in Limpopo. They've not left Limpopo to Johannesburg. So doing away with visa doesn't mean automatically people are going to leave their homes to where the economy is prospering. It's not true. Johannesburg, Gauteng is doing much better than Limpopo. But the people are not leaving Limpopo to Gauteng. So why would people leave Lagos to here? For what? It's their home. They will come here, look for what they are looking for, and take it back where they come from. Will go to Lagos to do the same and come back home. We have a problem here of unemployment of South Africans who are told by the previous apartheid mentality and colonialism, brainwashed, that South Africa is superior, is better. They've got the best qualifications. They never go out of the country to go and look for jobs in other countries. Why? Why? Why are they not going all out of Africa? We have nurses, we've got, now we're told doctors, we now have teachers, we have this. Africa is in need of that skill. You going to work anywhere in Africa, in Ghana, it doesn't mean you left your home. It's the same as me leaving Limpopo to come here. When the time permits, I go back home. So what is the problem? Let's go. They need to go. The continent, it's our home. We must all go there and become one thing. Once we do away with the visa, we're going to know each other. The reason why we are scared is because we don't know each other. We know each other through the lenses of our enemies. We don't know each other. So we must first know each other if we're going to build the government of Africa. So it's important that we engage in this thing. Free movement of people and goods, it will help us appreciate the existence of each other and bring us more closer for the unity of this continent. Well, African Union is it's a meeting of friends who don't even call each other to order. They can meet with a dictator who has just, killed his own people and then meet for the whole week and not even mention it. So we can't allow the African Union to continue to work the way it is working. We're talking here about SADC. We have a problem here in Zimbabwe. These members of SADC don't call the government of Zimbabwe to order because it's a group of brothers. That government is violating people there. It has just passed a law of gatherings and speeches and all of that. If they don't like you, you're having a political rally, they just send soldiers, they shoot at you and all of. No one in SADC has raised his voice to say, but what is this? So we cannot have these regional bodies and the continental body, including Pan-African Parliament, by the way, which are not biting on countries that are engaged in wrong activities. What is wrong with President Ramaphosa calling President Mnangagwa to order? It will be coming from a good place. They are all brothers, they are all Africans, they all speak, we assume, for the interest of Africans. So we can't have a situation where we've got regional bodies, continental bodies, that become a meeting of elite without concrete solutions to the problems confronting the people of Africa. We have a problem in Mozambique. The problem is solved by sending soldiers. Where have you ever seen soldiers solving a problem? Soldiers don't solve a problem. The leadership must meet and discuss and come up with a binding decision. That's why we say we need one legislature, one military, one currency, one president, so that we know when we go into Mozambique, it's not an interference, it's us providing a solution to our own problems. So we are not happy with how these things are structured. Look, economic integration, trading partners, developmental concepts, we embrace all of that, but it doesn't mean we're ideologically naive. We're not ideologically naive, we're political. And therefore, if we're to trade with the USA or to trade with the UK, we trade from a perspective of knowing that we don't share the same ideologies. When you approach them, you know these ones are brutal. I must not sleep on the job. They are not friends. We are not born alone. We are born with people. That's what friends are for. And to have friends that are aligned with you ideologically is nothing wrong. It's not an old-fashioned thing. It's actually apolitical to want to approach politics without ideological orientation. From which ground do you move from? What informs your perspective as a person who is a political animal? It's important always to have our sharing ideological perspective with China. It doesn't mean you can't get a foreign direct investment from Norway or from UK or from Germany. No. You always relate with all countries. Foreign direct investment is more than welcome, but on our terms.